Okay, I will walk you over the SAP assignment in which we will create a Visual Composer model using enterprise services. Okay, as per this assignment we have to log in to Visual Composer and then create a new model which will be called LU your login ID underscore employee. So I have already logged into my Visual Composer account using my ID which is LU002, and I am using Chrome browser with IE tab extension. Okay, so now I come here, I click on model, I create a new model LU002 underscore employee. Remember, you will not be using 002, you use your own login ID. Choose local repository, then in the development component come to new, name it as 5350 002. That's my ID. You use your own login ID underscore NW6. Okay, so this is my model. So my model has now been created. Okay, once I am here, you can see the model name LU002 employee, and then I come to search. When I select a provider, I will be selecting services registry. I search. When I am searching, I have to use the search term star employee basic. Okay, BASIC employee basic, and then I go to next. It's loading data. Now when I click on next, okay, now what will happen is I have to highlight this and then I have to click on finish. Now notice one thing, it did not ask me for any ID or password at this point, but when you will be working on it, what will happen is it will ask you for an ID and password like this. Look at page 6. When you click on next, it will ask you, a screen will come up and it will ask you for an ID and password. At that point you have to use username SAP underscore ESW and password ESWork123. It did not ask me because I have been practicing and I have already used my ID and password, so it has remembered from the past time. But once again it will ask you for an ID and password. During that time put in SAP underscore ESW and password ESWork123. So once you do that, it will bring you here. Okay, so I am now here. So I click on this and then I will drag it and drop it to my workspace. Then I have to expand my input port and deselect key date and work agreement ID and keep only employee ID selected. From output port, okay, I have to expand everything and make sure that all the fields are selected. Okay, everything is selected, and then I say okay. Now I have to drag the input port and click on the form view. Here I have to make sure that employee ID is selected. Okay, similarly I have to drag the output port, click on the form view, and then I have to make sure that every field is deselected. So I will basically make sure that I click on here and deselect. Look at here, delete. So I delete every control. Okay, now I click on here, expand everything and choose a few fields. So from employee, okay, I don't do anything. So from common I will select 4 fields. So what are those? You can find those in page here, page 9. Okay, so from common what I will be selecting is, no, not page 9, sorry, I am in page 11. Okay, from common I will be selecting birthplace name, birth country code and birth date, these three things. So birthplace name, birth country code and birth date. So these are the three things I should be selecting from common. Then from name I will be selecting 4 items. What are these 4 things? Form of address name, given name, family name and deviating full name. So from name I will be selecting form of address name, given name, family name and deviating full name. Okay, and then from birth country name I will be selecting birth country name. Okay, and then so I have selected all these 3, 4 and 1, 4 and 4, 8 items, 8 fields. Okay, so after that come here, I close this and then I will be just deploying the model. Okay, so I'll deploy the model. Okay, then I click on Flex to preview. So it has come up. Now I'm just trying with an employee ID 1444 and I submit. It's working. Okay, now close this. I have to do some more work. In order to do that, what I have to do is I have to click on the layout view. So look at here, this is layout here. Let me pull it down a bit. So this is my layout view. Click on the layout view. Okay, here this S1, okay, I have to change that to, I believe, enter employee ID. So let's see. Yes, S1 I have to change that to enter employee ID. Okay, so I will make it from here, type enter employee ID. Okay, okay, now this employee ID I have to label it as employee then ID. Okay, then here employee basic data I have to label it as employee data. Okay, then birthplace name would be birth city. Okay, birth country code will be just country code. Then birth date will be birth date. Form of address name would be title. Then given name will be, I believe, first name. Then family name will be last name. Deviating full name will be full name. And birth country name would be, let me check here. This is from page 16. Birth country name will be birth country. Okay. Okay. Then I have to rearrange these data fields. Okay. How do I have to arrange them? I have to arrange it in this way. First full name, then title, then first name, then last name. So first full name, then title, then last name, then first name. Is that so? First name, last name. Okay. Okay, full name, title, first name, last name. Full name, title, first name, last name. Then birth date, birth city, birth country. Birth date, birth city, birth country and country code. So this is my arrangement. Okay, and this is my complete model now, which I should be deploying again, and I should be putting in data. So let me just make sure that this is how it looks. Enter employee ID, then employee ID, then employee data. So enter employee ID, then employee data, and then I go back to my design view. Okay, go up, and then I deploy the model again. Okay, then I open from Flex and I put in employee ID 1444. I submit, then expand the calendar, and so you can see employee ID 1444 pulled up from the back end a person whose full name is Julia Grimm, title is Mrs., first name, last name, then birth date, it's 21/6/1965, the city and the country and the country code. So I need to take a screenshot of this, and I open a Word document. Okay, paste it in the Word document, my screenshot. This is what I have to submit. Save and submit, and you are done with assignment 8.